What is going on, guys? My name is Tim Ruswick, and today, what we are discussing is something that I think is misunderstood by the vast majority of people that undergo business, startups, games, nonprofit organizations, personal endeavors in their careers. This is so misunderstood that I would go as far as to say this is probably the number one misunderstanding in success in business today. And this misunderstanding comes from the conception that success happens simultaneously. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people think they set up their plans, they set up their goals, they set up their whatever. They work towards it for X amount of years, and then one day they're going to wake up and be like, yes, I am successful. Successful, right? They think, yes, this is going to be the day all of my achievements are going to come together to form like this success robot, right? Like almost like the old Power Rangers, how they all come together to form the Megazord. Like that's their success robot thing. And that's just not how it works. You don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm successful. I know a lot of friends that have had crazy exits. I know people that have millions of downloads. I know people that have literally millions of dollars in the bank and they don't consider themselves successful. So, what does successful being mean, and like how do you get there? How do you know when you've gotten there? Well, I think one of the misconceptions that I had for sure, um, thinking through my life, like for one, hiring my first person was like a dream of mine since I was a kid. Hiring somebody was like so far off in the distance that I couldn't even imagine what it'd be like to hire somebody. But when I got there, I didn't look at it as success. Building a company with multiple people, with partners, um, was always a dream of mine. When I got there, I didn't even look at it. Selling a company, that was, I didn't even think that was possible. I didn't even think that far. When, matter of fact, selling a company was a pain in the ass, legally and tax wise, with all the way everything was set up, because I never expected to even sell it. Um, there's so many things in my life that like have happened that way, where I just assumed that I'm gonna work all these years, I'm gonna do all these things, and I'm gonna wake up and be successful. But one of the things that I learned, especially in the last year or two, and a lot of the, it's crazy how a lot of the lessons have really hit me in the last year or two, and I think it's partially why I started the YouTube channels, because this helps you guys to hear me talk, but it also helps me talk to hear myself talk, if that makes sense, for me to like verbalize these thoughts in a way. And I kind of did that in a journal before the YouTube, but I feel like it kind of helps to share this stuff, and it's also documenting, so I can look back on this in a couple years and see my thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. So it's worked out. But I think the secret here, the message, if you will, this thing that people don't get, that is misunderstood in business, is that success, it's not simultaneous like most people think. It's not all these things happen at once and boom, you're successful. Rather than simultaneous, I think it's sequential. It's it's a series of steps on top of each other that compound to form this awesomeness. Now, most people, they think, you know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then it's all gonna come together at one time to form this epic success. But in reality, it's more like, oh, I did that and that worked out. Well, now that led to this opportunity and that worked out. Well, now that led to this opportunity and that worked out, right? And success over time, I think, builds on itself. It builds itself up to where you end up somewhere that you never thought you would be. I got to be honest, I never thought that I would be on YouTube sharing a video a day. That never crossed my mind to do daily videos. Never in a million years would I think that this would be what I'm doing. The Finish Friday thing, I never thought I'd be releasing a game every Friday live on stream. It's just something that happened. but it happens sequentially. Like these things start to stack on each other, right? Like I started with doing the stuff that I was doing in marketing. That led to an opportunity to form a company. That led to me getting more and more clients. That led to the eventual sale. That led to an epic road trip that I never thought I would take. That led to me finding my love for games again. That led to me eventually finishing my first game. That led to me ending up in this industry, helping people on YouTube, on GameDevUnderground.com, on GG.io, on writing articles, writing a book, doing all this different stuff. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And like, it's just insane. Like, and since then too, like I've talked at conferences, I've gotten emails from people that want to do stuff together, partnerships, opportunities, job offerings, all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't all hit you at once, right? Like all these different things don't all come together for that epic moment where you're like, haha, I'm successful. Each thing like is a stepping stone to the next thing. And a lot of times you don't know how the individual pieces are going to fall together. Like a lot of times for my bigger goals, like I have financial goals, I have personal goals, I have personal development goals, right? A lot of times I have these goals, but I don't necessarily know yet how I'm going to get there, right? Because some of them are big, some of them are I borders on, not knowing that they're possible, not knowing if I can pull it off. But when you just start working towards it, when you just start putting in the work and doing the stuff and you just start taking these steps and you end up just doing the next thing on top of that and the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, you end up in a beautiful place that you never thought you would be, but you enjoy yourself beautifully. That's of course if you do it right. I know plenty of people that have had the same, mindset, and they end up somewhere where they never thought they would go and they hate their life. But I know where I'm headed, right? Like I know what I want to do. I want to help developers. I want to spread my message. I want to help people because there was nowhere to help me in my journey, in my late teens and my early 20s. Like I wanted to build a company. I wanted to make video games, and there was no one around me to let me know how to do that. There was no one around me to let me know it was possible. My school let me down. The people around me let me down. Everybody, and it was my fault, right? Like I could have surrounded myself with better people. So for sure it was my fault. So I let me down in a way. But I feel like a sense of responsibility to help people in their 20s and 30s find how amazing game development can be. And I wouldn't have gotten here, and not to say I'm anywhere successful, right? That's, it depends on how you look at it. But I think I wouldn't have gotten here had I not taken all those steps before it, had I not gone through the struggles with coding, with development, with marketing, with building companies, with getting partners, with learning all this different stuff. Like had I not gone through all those struggles sequentially, one after the other, right? I couldn't have done them all at the same time. I wouldn't have learned the same things if I had gone through them all at the same time. But because I went through that stuff sequentially and I learned something new every time, and those learning opportunities stack on top of each other. And so over time you end up, just closer to where you want to be. You end up with a vast array of knowledge and skills and experience. And it's one of the reasons why, when I was growing up, I always would hear older people saying, "Oh, you're young, you don't understand," right? And as a young person, I'm like, no, you're old. You don't understand, right? Because I know everything. But as I grow older, as I start to progress through the years, I start to understand that a little more. Not to say that young people don't understand. It's just there's a certain array of knowledge and understanding that comes with that sequential years of work and problem solving and issues that arise and things that you learn and people you talk to and tasks that you master and experience that you gain. It just all kind of stacks on top of itself. And I think if more people understood that, I think they'd be more likely to put in the work. They'd be more likely to actually do the things that they're afraid of. They'd be more likely to actually go for things because they would look at success as just the top of the staircase rather than, the stars having to align into this like thing all at one time that makes this, epic machine or whatever analogy I'm using at this point. I don't even know. But I hope I was able to get this point across because my life especially has been a series of sequential things that have led to awesome opportunities. And it seems like the more work I put in, the luckier I get with all kinds of opportunities. So I hope that helps you. I would love to hear your comments on this below. If you've looked at success like sequential or simultaneous, or how you view it, or what your opinions are on the matter, because again, this is always a discussion, not a dictation. So I'd love to hear from you guys. But once again, I'm Tim Roswick, and I will see you tomorrow.